Hi, I'm Julie from Cultures for Health. Did you know you can make milk kefir at home for a fraction of the cost of what you can buy it for in the grocery store? It's easy to make, and today I'm going to show you how. Now you'll need a milk kefir culture to get started, and there's a couple of types available. There are powdered kefir starter cultures that can be used for a couple of batches, and then there's what's called milk kefir grains, and this is actually the one we prefer is milk kefir grains. Now the term grains is very misleading. There aren't actually any grains in this culture, like wheat, rye, spelt, what we normally think of as grains. Instead, the term grain refers to the appearance of the culture. So as you can see, it's kind of little granules. They actually look like little mini cauliflowers. Now this culture is a mix of beneficial yeast and bacteria existing in a symbiotic relationship. So that's what makes up the culture. We prefer milk kefir grains because they are reusable for an indefinite period of time. This culture can be added to milk over and over again to make a new batch of kefir every 24 to 48 hours. Also, milk kefir grains contain significantly more beneficial strains of bacteria and yeast than the powdered starter cultures. Now, there are a couple of ways to get milk kefir grains. If you have a friend who makes milk kefir, they may be willing to share some of their culture with you. These guys tend to grow a little bit, and so they may have some extras they can share. If that's not an option for you, we also have them available on our website. We ship them in a shelf-stable state, so they are safe to ship, and they arrive just like this. So let's go ahead and get started making milk kefir. Milk kefir is perhaps one of the easiest cultured foods to make. If you're a beginner, this is a great one to start with. So let's go ahead and make a pint of milk kefir. So what we need are our activated kefir grains. So these are rehydrated kefir grains ready to go. We're going to go ahead and put these in the jar. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and fill this jar with milk. I just have some organic whole milk here. Kefir grains are pretty forgiving though. You can use any number of types of milk. You can use low-fat milk if you'd like. You can use goat milk. You can even use coconut milk. What you want to stay away from is ultra-high pasteurized or ultra-high temp and ultra-pasteurized milks. Those are a little more unreliable for making any cultured food. So this is just regular organic whole milk from the grocery store. So we went ahead and added this to the jar. We're going to put a covering on the jar. As kefir ferments, it tends to create some gas that attracts things like fruit flies and ants. So I recommend putting a nice tight weave cover, either something like a paper coffee filter like this, or a dish towel, something like that, and then secure it with a nice tight rubber band. Now you want to set this mixture somewhere in your home that's relatively warm, somewhere between 70 and 78 degrees if possible. Cooler temperatures will mean that the kefir will take longer to culture, although you don't want to get down below about 65 degrees. Warmer temperatures will mean the process will happen faster. Now kefir goes through a few stages as it cultures. It starts out with this just milk stage, and then it starts to thicken. It gets to be about the consistency of buttermilk. So let me show you what that looks like. This kefir's been sitting for about 24 hours. And as you can see, it's kind of just a little bit thickened. It's like a runny yogurt or a cultured buttermilk from the store, or if you buy your kefir from the store, it's like a store-bought kefir type consistency. Put that right there. If you allow the kefir grains to sit in this milk longer, though, what will happen is the milk will actually separate into curds and whey. And let's show you a picture of that. As you can see, there is a solid mass on top and clear liquid underneath. Now, you can drink the kefir at any of these stages, so this thickened buttermilk type stage, or at the stage where it has separated. Most people prefer the buttermilk texture stage. It tends to be a little bit more pleasant tasting. Once the kefir separates into curds and whey, it has a much stronger taste to it. It tends to have a more effervescent texture, and that may or may not be desirable, but it's up to you. It is usable both ways though, so if you accidentally let your kefir over culture, it's not a big deal. So this milk's been sitting with the kefir grains for about 24 hours. It's that buttermilk consistency, and it's ready to go ahead and pull the kefir grains out. So we are going to go ahead and pour, let's move this over a little bit. We're going to pour our kefir through the strainer. Now this is a fine mesh plastic strainer. Plastic is best, but you want a very fine mesh so you don't lose any of your kefir grains. If necessary, you can use stainless steel, although it's not Metal tends to be a little more problematic, but stainless steel is relatively safe. You definitely want to stay away from other metals because they can react and actually damage the kefir grains. And so some of the kefir will move through the strainer on its own, but sometimes it needs a little bit of help. So you can use either very clean fingers to move it around, or you can use a spoon. And so all I'm doing is just gently moving the kefir around in the strainer, and it's helping push the kefir through, just like this. But this is actually kefir. This is what you pay so much money for in the grocery store. It's really this easy to make. So, all right, starting to see the kefir grains. We're getting towards the end. All right, and there are the kefir grains, those little lumps right there. I'll pull these up here. And so you're going to take these kefir grains and put them in fresh milk, and 24 to 48 hours later, you'll have another batch of kefir. It's really that easy to make kefir. There's your kefir. You can use it in smoothies, you can use it for baking, you can drink it plain. There are so many options. Check out our website. We have a ton of recipes. There are recipes that came with your packet as well. I'm Julie from Cultures for Health, where healthy food starts.